This is Dr. Omoshebi Miriamolola, and we're still on the seminar Broken Past, Unbroken Future. And this is the second video. Like I said, the second video will be centered around the effects of dysfunctional families on children. We've established the fact that dysfunctional families have serious effects on children. There's this adage that when two elephants fight, what suffers? The grass. In a family, when the father and the mother cannot, properly live together in an ideal situation, the children will definitely suffer for it. It's going to have adverse effects on the children, and that's what we'll be talking about in this second video. So having described what dysfunctional families look like in the first video, I'll be talking about the possible effects of having children grow up in dysfunctional families. I'll be mentioning quite a few, and I hope that you would come to understand the gravity of what I'm actually trying to point out in this seminar. So the first effect is that children are forced to grow up too soon. They are forced to grow up too soon. Like there are cases where the mother is injured and then the child has to, just step in and take care of, maybe let's say the first child has to take care of the younger ones because it's not an ideal situation. You find the child probably mopping the floors where the mother has vomited or where the father has vomited. Children, they get to grow up too soon, and this will affect them because they will end up having distorted development. They're supposed to take it one step at a time, but they are forced into a place where they are not ready for, where they are not supposed to be yet. They are forced into seemingly adult, an adult environment, or a place where they have to assume duties that are actually not theirs. So that's one adverse effect of children living or being raised in dysfunctional families. Then number two, they are marred with emotional trauma. Like for me, as an example, I still have flashbacks, I still have pictures, like running through my brain. Even now, I still remember unfavorable scenes from my past, unfavorable, scenes from incidences that occurred while I was growing up, and they are not palatable stuff. There are some people that find it very difficult to detach themselves from such scenes, from such emotional trauma. Like, you seeing your mother being hit, you seeing your mother being pushed down the stairs, or you seeing your father slap your mother, or you seeing your father shouting at your mother, or you seeing your mother cursing your father. All those stuff, they get ingrained in the minds of children. They get stuck up there. So that's the second thing that could happen to a child that grows up in a dysfunctional family. And then another thing, which is the third, is that they have thoughts of worthlessness. They feel, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. There's this inferiority complex that could come to play in their lives. And because of this inferiority complex, they sometimes settle for less than the best for them. And that is why I hear of cases where I see, young ladies in kinds of relationships that you just feel, is this girl in a normal sense? It's like, what is she doing in this relationship? Why? Because she thinks so less of herself. She thinks that she might not get somebody better than who she is with. She's just desperate to feel her mom, to feel important, and that makes them just settle You just settle for less than the best for them because of the thoughts of worthlessness, because of the kind of marriages they're coming from. Just say that's what they've been exposed to. That's the kind of marriage they have seen. So they don't see anything bad in, well, maybe they feel it's bad, but they just, well, it's normal for a husband to beat up his wife. Like, I remember watching a video some time ago. I think it was a divorce court or something like that, and this particular lady, she took the husband to court, wanted to file for a divorce. And what was her reason? She told the judge that she didn't want the marriage again because the husband was too nice. Like, who complains about a man that is too nice? Like, he loves her so much. And upon probing, she thought it was abnormal for a man to be that nice, because she had all her life been exposed to seeing men batter her mother. So she felt that was the right thing, that was the normal thing. So talk about when the abnormal becomes the normal. That's what happens when a child grows up in a dysfunctional family, except he or she is exposed to what the right thing really is. He might just settle and just say, okay, so that's how it's supposed to be. So he won't even know that he's supposed to, long for more or seek for something better. Then number 4, they may fall victims to abusers. Yes, all in a bid to find love, because they want the void that they feel on the inside to be filled. There's that void, that love that doesn't come. Like that was one of the things I mentioned in the first video. Unconditional love, it's not present. So they want love. Everyone wants to be loved. That is one thing about us as human beings. We are created to love and to receive love. So a child that grew up in a dysfunctional family wants love. There's that void that love he or she did not get from the family that he or she grew up in. So in such instances, because of that desperation for love, they might fall victim to abusers or people that will take advantage of them. And another thing is that they think they don't deserve good things in life. Like, they know, or maybe they were aware that there are certain maybe classmates of theirs that grew up in loving families, and you just say, well, maybe my life is just like that. I'm not cut out for good stuff. I'm not cut out to live a good life. There are people that actually think that way of themselves. That I think it's just my destiny. But the truth of the matter is, nobody's destiny is to live a bad life. You deserve the good things of life as long as you're a child of God. God wants the best for you, and you deserve the good things of life. Another thing is that they find it difficult to express their feelings or emotions. Their thoughts. They find it difficult to just say exactly how they feel about stuff. So they are the kind of children that will just keep quiet. Even if they are not, feeling good about something, they decide to just keep quiet about it. Why? Because they don't want to be shut up. Because that's what they've always grown to see. Probably they've always seen their father shut their mother up. Their mother is not able to say her mind. So such children won't be able to stand up for themselves or stick up for themselves and say exactly how they feel about certain issues. Then apart from that, some of them blame themselves for their parents' failed marriages. They grow up carrying that guilt around, that probably if I wasn't born, my parents' marriage would have worked. The thing is, you should not be held responsible, even if they did not plan to have you, or even if it was at the point where you were born that they started having issues. You shouldn't be held responsible for their wrong judgment, for their wrong, or bad decisions. It is not your fault that they couldn't make their marriage work. So you should not be blamed for that. You should not be blamed for that. So, but children that do not know the right thing, they keep going round around through their lives thinking that they were part of the problem of their parents' marriages. And then another thing is that some of these children grow up hating the opposite sex. They just grow that hatred for the opposite sex, and that's why you would find a young boy, saying girls are useless, or you find a young girl, a teenager, talking about men being unfaithful. Like, where did they get that from? From home. From home. So they have that hatred, that natural hatred, that inbuilt hatred for the opposite sex. And that is not supposed to be. We're supposed to be able to grow together, male and female. Our children are supposed to be able to grow together, knowing that we are all important before God and that we are all good, because God created all of us to be good. And then another very bad thing that happens to children that grow up in dysfunctional families is that they end up picking up negative attitudes. And there are several examples of this. Like, they can go around abusing others. They can go around eating people, like beating people. Like, I've heard of a young boy, like maybe around 5 or so. He would just go around slapping people in his class. A young child. Why? Because that's what he's always saying. That's what he has always seen his father do to the mother, slapping the mother. So he thinks that it's normal to just slap people. Once they do something that you don't really like, you just slap them. Right? That's very bad. Very bad. And then some of these children end up growing up to be selfish human beings. They're always thinking about themselves. And of course, because we have mentioned the fact that a dysfunctional family is a place where there is selfishness. In a healthy family, in an ideal family, there's no selfishness. So such children will not be able to build healthy marriages, healthy relationships. Generally, in all their relationships, they will be selfish, always looking out for themselves. Then you find some of these children throwing things at people when they are hungry, or throwing things, destroying things when they are hungry. When he is hungry, he carries a TV and throws it away, because that's what the father used to do. When he's hungry, he starts throwing all the plates, starts throwing away all the glass cups. Children pick up this attitude, these habits. There are this kind of children, they are always caught up in fights. They're always fighting. Even when somebody is joking with him or her, within split seconds, it's already a huge fight. Because he doesn't take anything as a joke, everything is serious. And they're generally hostile. So you can see that dysfunctional families do nothing to help children. They will only destroy their lives. They will only destroy their lives. And then finally, children that grow up in dysfunctional families end up having trust issues, like serious trust issues. They can't trust their partners. They can't trust their spouses. They can't trust people they are in relationships with, because they are coming from that background where the father did not trust the mother did not trust the father. And that's why you will hear a young bride saying, "Oh, I know my husband cannot be faithful. It's the DNA of men to be unfaithful." Where did she get that from? I pray that God will help our generation. Our generation is really messed up. And it's all about family. I work in an environment where I get to talk to young people, and I have found out that many of the problems they are having stem from their home, because they are coming from dysfunctional families. They have become distorted. Their lives have become distorted, and it's a vicious cycle that we have to deal with. So the negative impacts are obvious. They are obvious. Hence, the reason we must focus on this issue. We need to focus on what we need to do. And that's what we'll be talking about in the third video. How can we break this cycle? There are a lot of failed marriages today. Failed marriages out there. Failed marriages that cannot be far-fetched. That are not far-fetched from the kind of homes that the partners were raised in. Is either because the wife was raised in an unloving marriage, or in an unloving family, in a dysfunctional family. He comes, or she comes into that marriage, with all the wrong ideologies, with all the wrong attitudes. And of course, it's garbage in, garbage out. You can't give what you don't have. I pray that God will help us as we go into the third video, the third and final video, where we'll be talking about what we can do to help people that are in dysfunctional families. And if you are, or if you were raised in a dysfunctional family, as you're watching these videos, I trust God to use this video to help you snap out of it, to do something different, to live your life differently from today. And I hope that it's going to help singles to decide to marry right, and it's going to help the married to focus on building good relationships, a good environment for their children to grow in. See you on the third video. Bye for now.